Hello, welcome to July 16th, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this video is my Good Life meditation. It's a daily video that I make where I recount and discuss, sometimes in detail, sometimes in a very short and cursory manner, my life objectives and principles. I also check to see how I did applying these to the challenges and opportunities of yesterday and even last night, and then plan for today. So let's begin. First, yesterday and last night. It was a good day yesterday. I got a lot done. It was a day off. I pretty much stayed home and stayed in this room and just worked on my stuff. I got a lot done. Worked on my website and worked on some writing. Did a whole lot of reading. The day just kind of went by. If yesterday is a model for what retirement could be, then it's a good thing. I could definitely enjoy days like yesterday without number. Of course, there'll be some number, but you know what I mean. It was a fun day. And I slept well. I went to bed later than my bedtime, but I slept right up until the alarm went off. And I tossed and turned just a little bit in the middle of the night, but that was mostly because of the heat. So I would say yesterday and last night were good models of what life might be like. Although reading Juvenal's 10th satire, not a good model. And Juvenal's 10th satire, and then recently reading Dr. Johnson's imitation of that same satire. It makes me wonder about the benefits of old age. Although their message was different. Their message was the waiting for old age. No, their message was the benefits of long life itself, where disease and weariness and mental, is the word fitness, aptitude, nimbleness, mental acuity begins to fade. If their message is long life itself, a good thing. So still, it's better if I can work to improve my appreciation and my utilization of the day-to-day. Not waiting for retirement to. So easy to do, just to say. Then I guess that's what we do if we wait for retirement. We just put aside the hard work of tending to the moments of now, of tending to today. That's right, the hard work of tending to today. Let's do the good life. 7 objectives and 30 principles. The objectives are as follows. Oh, one of the things I did yesterday too was I cleaned up the Discord. I removed all the categories, they call them channels, and I boiled it down to just an introduction section, so anyone that arrives new to the site can read the guidelines, be welcome to read the guidelines, given a chance to introduce themselves, and there's a feed for my Softy Papa social media, so all of it dumps into there, its own little channel, and then there's a text section and a voice section, and I'm encouraging the use of threads in the text section, and that's what I'm going to do. And if it just kind of withers up and dies, and that's all right. I mean, I hope that I would like to be able to create a place where people who are interested in or have already encountered the great indifference, can talk about that with others, where they're not necessarily so alone. The return from going alone. if it works out good. If not, I'll leave it no matter what. I'll continue to contribute there in my own sporadic way. All right, the 7 objectives are as follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions. 6, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities. And 7, to just do one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Okay, my 30 principles are as follows. 1, the principle of war, to always be fighting against what I think is true. 2, the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which is the frame of mind that I develop and maintain as I go through life, so that I'm being reasonable and objective and honest in my assessment and in my onboarding of belief. And then I'm also maintaining a critical eye towards the things that I've already taken on board, looking for their faults and error. 3, the homunculus, the suggestion and reminder that I do not have a soul, but I do have a consciousness. 4, the Anchorhold, the idea that this consciousness that I do have is temporary. It will exist as long as I'm alive, maybe even not that long. I guess it is possible to go unconscious and still be alive. But when I die, that's the end for sure. And since there's no afterlife, my consciousness will wink out with me. And in the meantime, while it is alive, while it is around, it frets and fumes and enjoys and delights in the vicissitudes of life, the ups and the downs and the challenges and the rewards. Next comes the home of good and evil, the idea that right and wrong, good and evil, do not exist of their own right, but are constructs and opinions that we maintain in the course of our living, due to the course of our living, due to what we learn along the course of our living. Next comes the principle of purpose and the 3 sub-principles of biology, which is family, virtue, which is the doing of good things, where good is defined as the pursuit of the well-being of thinking creatures in particular. And then whatever mission I onboard. In this case, my mission is the sharing of my story and going alone and this resulting good life. So what I'm doing right now, I'm making this video, is part of my mission. Then comes the atomic principle. Everything is made of matter, atoms and molecules that are coming together and falling to pieces. And then the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, including people, and it's good to understand and recognize what that is. And then the next one is the pirate ride, the idea that free will is probably just a very convincing illusion. And then maturity, and the sub-principle of wisdom, and the other sub-principle of fortitude. We are wise when we remember our past successes and failures, and then do better with these in the future. That's maturity. And then the social principle. We are social creatures, we humans. We need each other, and our best ends are the social ends that we pursue. And then public speaking, a reminder to use few words, deliberate words, carefully chosen words, and to never gossip. And then temperance. The suggestion to be very careful in our consumption, to do everything less. There are 3 sub-principles: suffering, simplicity, and apathy. We suffer when we deny ourselves our wants. Such a life is a simple life. And apathy is the tool that we use, the ability to see what is outside of our control and to let it go, or at least to be, if not indifferent, at least to feel less engaged. Engagement is not even the thing. It's recognizing that we can't, it's outside of our control, that we can't reach it. It's the way that we, I don't know, that's not a good example either. Oh, well, I guess it is. It's like reading history, right? Yesterday I was reading about the Salem witch trials. And I'm apathetic. I mean, it's interesting and I'm engaged with it and I do learn from it, but I'm apathetic to it. It's a thing deep in the past that I can't do anything about. I guess we could argue that anything that's in the here and then now we might be able to intervene with. But that which is really outside of our control is something that we can't, or maybe largely out of our control. Like the assassination this week of former Prime Minister, Japanese Prime Minister Abe Shinzo. There's really not much I could do about that. I guess that is another example of a historical thing, right? It's after the fact. I need to explore this more. What about the pain of his family? Am I apathetic to that? Is there practically anything I can do? I guess it does extend to that, right? I mean, I guess there are ways that you could do things. I mean, I guess I could find ways to try to reach out to his family, but I won't, because that would be weird and intrusive and unnecessary. So yeah, I guess that's it. I'm apathetic to that degree. Okay. Next is That Which Must Be Borne. No. The horror show. Life is a scary place with lots of horrible things happening. And horror comes for all of us to a greater or lesser extent. The next one is That Which Must Be Borne. That's the name of the principle, That Which Must Be Borne. And it's the idea that there's things that we have to carry in life. Namely, the responsibilities that we onboard, especially when we decide to become a spouse and become a parent, take on a job, commit to responsibilities. We have to bear that. We also have to bear the horror show. Next comes distraction. We spend our lives distracting ourselves with life, so that we don't have to see the emptiness of the universe, the great indifference, which is the next principle. The great indifference is the recognition of a universe without God. Pardon me. Next comes, so that was two principles, distraction and agency and the great indifference. Then comes the best seat in the house, to not want to be anyone else or be anywhere else or be doing anything else, but to be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. And then the Path of Wildness, which is a way to transition from one life story into another, one chapter of life to another. And then after the Path of Wildness comes the risk of avoiding risk. There's the deep and the surface level risks of life. The surface level risks of life are not pursuing education, career, home, family, and security. The deep risk is not spending time or making effort to explore and find ourselves and to create a life story for ourselves, unique and our own from the surface level stuff. It's a challenging thing to attend to both levels of risk. The next one is sin and damnation. The sins in my life are relative to truth, being truthful, and being a gossip. Engaging in any of these things leads to damnation, a damnation of sort in the here and now, where we live a damned, dishonest life, or a damned disingenuous life, or a damned gossip's life. Next comes complete oblivion. When we die, there'll be nothing to follow. There'll be no life after this. So there'll be no reunion with the ones we love, no reconciliation of any differences, and no final justice, because there's nothing to follow. Next comes the great life adventure. Great life adventure is one or more experiences that kind of make the story of our life, of our character, and help to make us into the man or woman that we will be as an adult. It's good to have that great life adventure at an early age. The sweet spot is around 24, 25 to 30. The post-college years, go to college. Never mind what people keep saying about, taking up a trade. That's fine. Take up a trade, become a plumber or an HVAC person or electrician, but go to college nonetheless. Get that degree. Having the degree will do things in your life. Even things, and a lot of things that have nothing to do with career. So get that degree, and then go on a great life adventure. Go give the degree to your mom and dad and say, here, hold this for me for 5 years. I'll be back. And then off you go. When you come back, just make sure you didn't get anybody pregnant. When you come back, or yourself, pick up that degree and say, okay, now I'm ready to start. I like to picture that person coming back bruised, tattered, broken, preferably broken, bruised, maybe with a limp, like I keep saying, tattered, but a grin from ear to ear, or at least a knowing grimace. Something has been lodged inside. Something has been formed. And that something is the kernel. It's like the grain of sand in an oyster that over the course of life that will become a pearl. That's what comes of a good life adventure early on. If you feel like you want that and you don't give yourself that early on, it'll probably haunt you for the rest of your life. And the sad thing is that you don't get a second chance. You can do it again later. You can try later, but it won't be the same. Sadly, you just get one chance at the great life adventure early on. We get one chance at every great life adventure, right? You can't overdo it too. You can go too far with it. Remember the risk of avoiding risk. The great life adventure is the thing that assuages the deep risk. You can't go too deep and just spend all your time on that, and then you miss out on the surface level risks, and then you end up my age, and you gotta work the rest of your life. That's tough. Maybe it's okay if you like what you do, but you're probably going to get tired eventually. Okay, next comes the season of philosophy, which is a time to record on what we've discovered along the way. And then, after the season of philosophy, comes the bullseye aim, striving for the mark and missing, the uphill climb, a steady uphill trudge, arena and utility. Life is this arena for the development of objectives and principles and the execution of these, using those principles. And then nothing is enough. A suggestion not just towards temperance, but maybe something more akin to abstinence. And then lastly, the principle of fun, a reminder to enjoy life now and look forward to things and remember the past. That's it. There's my good life creed. What I'll do now, let's plan for the day. For now, I'm going to upload the video. I'll go read my Bible verse. I'll then fire up the computer so that I can do the things to package the video. And I'll go downstairs. I'll feed the dogs, and then I'll start my house cleaning. Maybe I'll just sit here for a little bit and read Dr. Johnson's poem. Yeah, maybe I'll take a stab at it right now. Before I do all of that, I will. Okay, thanks for watching. Be safe, but not too safe.